today's video, we're doing a tier list for Overwatch Classic. Let's be honest, do I have to do a tier list for it? Nope. Is it fun to do tier list? Yup. Are people going to disagree with the takes of the Overwatch Classic tier list? Yup. Sub to the YouTube if you haven't. If you're listening right now, let's do this. So we're gonna have an F tier. Now, I don't normally do F tiers on my tier list, but I think there is a reason why we have an F tier on this tier list, okay? D.Va's an F tier. There is just no denying that D.Va's an F tier. This is... I just need to point this out. Coming from somebody who has a lot of time on D.Va, it could be argued that this version of D.Va in Overwatch Classic is by far the worst version of any hero in Overwatch. I'm not even joking. Even the most reworked Sombra at the very worst is better than the D.Va version that was in this game. Symmetra is better than D.Va in Overwatch Classic. It's not even close. Keep in mind, just so anybody knows here with D.Va, as D.Va, you die to your own D.Va ult. You go a half a mile per hour when you shoot. Your defense matrix is on a 10-second cooldown. You do barely any damage. You don't have rockets yet. By far one of the worst. Not even close. All right, next up we have Reinhardt. Reinhardt's probably like A tier. Rein's like a classic, just you can kind of survive, do your thing. You kind of like run into having the issue of having basically a limited support pool. If I said today to you in Overwatch 2, I'm going to go Reinhardt here. Can we get a Mercy Lucio or a Zen Lucio so I can play some Rein? What would you say? You'd be like, dude, are you good? Now, granted, what makes Rein A tier in Classic is that you have your 2000 HP shield, and in Classic, a lot of it is about that teamwork and survivability aspect. Rein brings that survivability. While Rein isn't as good as current Rein is, obviously most heroes aren't, I think Rein ends up in a spot where you have good team play. And the ultimate's good enough too. Winston, probably S tier. Most stackable hero for a tank. I'm gonna put Hog up there too, probably. I think Winston's just a good tank. You can stack Winstons, like, Winston is just good. Kind of very similar to how Winston is now outside of... Winston was just one of the better heroes at this point in the game. Winston still is one of the better heroes. Roadhog, believe it or not, is probably going to go in S or A tier. Probably above Rein. This is a tough one. Probably S tier. Just so good. Easy kills. Broken hook. Yeah, Take Your Breather sucks, but Hog is good. Zarya's probably high A tier, A+. Right around here. Probably like right here. Good grav. Above Rein. You help your Rein. Rein, Zarya. Keep them in the same category. Kind of keep them where they're at. I think Zarya's a little bit better just because of like the damage output, but that's pretty simple. Okay, so there you go. There's all your tanks. This was literally what it looks like on a tier list at the launch of Overwatch 1. Can you believe that we have double the heroes now in Overwatch 2? All right, next up we have Bastion. Bastion's actually pretty good. Probably B tier because of lack of mobility, but good still. What I mean by lack of mobility is like when you go into turret form, you're like an AFK turret form. You think S tier for Bastion? I don't think S+ because there's a couple other heroes. Bastion's right click. You know what? There you go. A tier. I'll move Bastion up to A tier. Does that sound good? I can see the argument there. I can't go as far as S tier, but I can see A tier. Because, yeah, it definitely is a little bit more difficult with the healing output. Yeah, A tier makes sense now. It's a lot easier to keep a Bastion up in, like, this form, while also being able to shred everybody else. Cassidy, A tier, above Bastion. Actually, here, I'll do it out of order a little bit. I'm putting Cass in A tier, and you'll see why in a minute. Also, a little bit of a tip for anybody if you're trying the Classic mode out. Before you say anything about Cassidy with, like, oh, why is Cassidy here? Do me a favor, okay? I want you to go up to a tank when you're playing Classic on the other team. I want you to throw your flashbang over their shield. I want you to right-click them. And if they don't die, I want you to reload and right-click them again. And then tell me Cassidy isn't an A tier. Because I don't think players are doing that yet. But I'm telling you right now, go do that. And you're going to see what I'm talking about, okay? Genji. Genji's like B... Long blade... Played, but like it feels like you run into some of the issues. Probably B tier. High B tier. Like not bad, but like once again, Genji doesn't benefit from some of the other stuff yet in the game. Like once Ana gets introduced, like Genji moves up to like here. For a while, like Genji definitely starts to dominate. But without Ana right now, I think Genji just has a little bit of like behind. Once again, you're going to look at this and go, why is Bastion ahead of Genji? It's just Bastion just does an absurd amount of damage in the first version of Classic where there just isn't enough healing to be able to make up for the damage that exists. Does that make sense? So that's where, like, Bastion, if done correctly, you can just... it's not uncommon to see Bastion shred, like, 4 people. Next up, we have Hanzo. I think Hanzo actually kind of runs in the same area here. Probably the B tier. Like, Hanzo's, like, okay. Scatter Arrow is really strong, though. So I think Hanzo kind of runs into the same issue here. Yeah, you could argue A-, but I think B's good. Might be actually here. I'm going to do that. Yeah, Scatter's strong, but, like, enough there. Okay, next up, we have Junkrat. Junkrat's, like, C tier. And listen, Junkrat isn't bad by any means. It's just, like, when you look at the other heroes that are going to end up in S tier, Junkrat kind of ends up in, like, this RNG, like, you can make some good plays, hit some good shots, but, like, it's really hard to get through a lot of chokes and get through a lot of areas of maps and stuff. So it makes Junkrat just, like, in this current version of Overwatch, Junkrat isn't necessarily bad. Let's say there was, like, 10 more heroes, like, in the game. Like, Junkrat's version of Classic could be, like, right here, right? But in this version where there isn't as much there and what you have available to you, I think Junkrat ends up in a C tier for that reason. We have Mei. I'm going to go Mei B tier. I think Mei's freeze is really good. I think Mei can be really annoying to people when they play Mei. No, I wouldn't put Mei in S tier. I think B tier is pretty good. Do you think Mei's S tier? Am I missing something here? Because I remember Mei even back then was considered like, it was like B-ish. Really? Okay, I can put, you know, how about I meet in the middle? How about I meet in the middle at A tier? Does that sound good? I can meet y'all I can meet y'all in the middle. Pharah, I'm thinking Pharah's like C tier. Only reason why Pharah's C tier, I'm going to tell you this much. Once it goes to role limit or like hero limit, Pharah's going to move up real fast. Maybe B tier, like low end B tier. Maybe like a little bit above Junkrat, like B-. So Pharah's going to end up moving up to here. Once the hero limit is introduced to the game, Pharah Mercy becomes heavily meta because you only can have one Widow. So Pharah Mercy becomes a lot better than it used to be. So before though, this is in the current limits, Pharah's probably going to end up here. And people are going to go, what do you mean? Pharah's going to get dominated? Because we're going to have the role limit introduced, I'm going to keep Pharah here as an in-between buffer of where it will be if somebody watches this video after. We have Reaper now. Reaper's not... Reaper's like B because of clunkiness and no lifesteal. Maybe C. How about this? B-? Down for like a B-, C? Okay, chat wants C. I'll go with C. I think this is fine. So... Reaper runs into an issue of clunkiness. I'll go B tier. I'm going to go B. I'm going to go low B. Reaper has, like, clunkiness. Like, everything doesn't, like, flow as well as it does now. You don't have lifesteal. You have orbs, which the orbs kind of suck sometimes because you can't get them. So, Reaper's like, okay. Not bad. Decent. So, there you go. Soldier 76. I'm actually going to put Soldier up here. I'm telling you, Soldier's good. No. B+. High B+. It's just, like, you're not going to see the strength of Soldier until you get to the hero limits. Because of Widow. Keep in mind, because you can run against like 2 Widows right now and like 2 Zens, etc. Soldier's not going to feel as good, but like once this hero limit gets introduced, Soldier's going to be a lot better. Yeah, Cassidy will stay above Soldier, but for now, I think putting like B+ high tier is totally fine for me. Widow, S tier. I don't think there's a question on this one. Widow is S tier in Overwatch 2 right now, and Widow is S tier at the beginning of Overwatch 1. I love how that goes. 8.5 years later, this hero is still S+. And I'm biased? What, for Widow? Widow is S tier. Widow dominates. And then we have Torb. Torb's like okay. Like, I think kind of in that Junkrat tier, right? I mean, without hero limit, like you could say, I don't know. This is a tough one. Torb's like, I'm just going to put Torb here. People can argue with me on B tier if they want, but Torb's going there. Last but not least actually, console Torb, B-. I'm going to meet people in the middle because Torb is apparently broken on console. If I recall correctly. Like, because the turret was so good. All right, and then last but not least, your number 1 S tier above everybody else, Tracer. Tracer's unbelievably good. And your Pulse Bomb actually does something. Like, you can't... Your Pulse Bomb can't be ruined. It can be ruined by a res, but it can't be ruined by, like, I guess a bubble, technically, but, like, no one's saving their bubbles for that, let's be honest. Actually, I'm going to do this with Widow. Is that better? I think Widow also server admins the lobby, too. So I would put Tracer, Widow, and then Winston Hog. Now we're on to our 4 supports, and yes, you're seeing this right. Symmetra is in the support list. Now, Lucio is in a very unique spot at this point in the game. C tier. Maybe B tier. Now, let me explain. The speed boost is really good. The heal boost can be good, but, like, it's not being used correctly. It's really scuffed. Only reason why I'm going to put probably Lucio in, like, C tier is because Lucio's AoE range is really, really far. So while you struggle with wall riding, like, Lucio's, like, current version of speed boost in this version, as well as heal boost in the range you have, which is currently 3 times. I want to reiterate this, chat. You know how when you're playing Overwatch 2 on Lucio, you can see the circle around Lucio? It is 3 times the size of that. Which means you can't see the circle in Classic. I mean, they didn't have it at the... Believe it or not, that wasn't in the game at the beginning. They actually added that in. I think they added that in very shortly after they nerfed Lucio, so people would know what the new range was. But anyway, so that's why Lucio's C tier. Sim's D tier. You can do some fun plays. You can put Sim turrets on basketballs randomly. You can have a good ultimate. You know, yeah, you can TP your teammates back. But let's be honest with you. In the version of Sim, the right click is horrible. The left click is horrible. I'm going D tier. Do you strongly disagree? Fair enough. Keep in mind, the left click is good, but have you seen how close you need to be for the left click, by the way? I know I said it was horrible, but do you see how close you have to be to somebody? You have to be, like, kissing them. Teleporter? Yeah, that's why I don't have Diva in F tier. I mean, Sim in F tier. That's why I'm putting Sim there. If you're going, oh, yeah, but you can do the car wash strategy, right? When that it has to be the argument for, like, moving Sim up, that's it. Like, that's the problem. You said the slow orbs go through shields. Yeah, but they're like, those orbs are they're laughably slow. Mercy, probably S tier, right? Most healing in the game. Has the best ultimate you've probably ever seen with the res. Damage boosts Widow. Keeps everybody alive. It's just like, if you don't have a Mercy, you're probably not going to have a good time. I think Mercy is a clear-cut S tier. I know you can't super jump. I know the movement's a little bit more clunky, but like, there's no other support here that does what Mercy can do from keeping your teammates alive. Lucio barely can do it. Zenyatta can't do it. Symmetra doesn't even heal. Just gives you like a 125 shield. So I'd put Mercy in S tier. And then last but not least, we have Zenyatta, which, I don't know. A tier? Right around this range. A tier. High damage output. Keep people alive. Good damage. You can stack Zens. Discord orbs, 50%. You're a glass cannon, but you can still play range. I like Zen here. The only thing that sucks about Zen is your ultimate is awful. Your ultimate isn't awful. It's just slow. Let me rephrase that. The ultimate is good in Overwatch Classic. The way it is now wouldn't keep up with the pace of Overwatch. Is that better? Like the current version feels off because we're so used to the current version of Zen ult. Like Zenyatta's ultimate technically kind of makes sense during the beginning of Classic because like it's a slower paced game. People aren't going around on off angles yet. It's a lot of like staying behind your Rein. Like for the most part, like it's pretty good. So maybe I'm a bit biased, but yeah, there you go. This is kind of my Overwatch Classic tier list. Honestly, tier lists are always all over the place. Who knows? This is where I see it. Hope you enjoyed this. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to all 3 YouTubes if you haven't. Leave a comment. All that helps. If you want to submit your own spectating, look in the description below. Spectating. What video am I on? I don't even know what video I'm on right now. If you want to submit your own spectating, you can do that too. Who knows anymore. I hope you all have an amazing day/night.